Hey everyone, welcome back to some new malicious compliance stories. I hope you had a great day. If you would like to help me grow this channel, please press the like button. It really helps in the algorithm. And if you haven't already, why don't you make this the video that you subscribe to the channel? And with that out of the way, let's start with the first story, shall we? The first story is called How to Play the UPS System. I was just trying to work my way through the UPS system. For a whole week, my tracking number has produced the result. Check back tomorrow for an update. When I try to file a claim, I'm told that the package is not eligible for a claim, presumably because it's not exactly lost, it's just not deliverable. I don't know, I can't tell. So, what can I help you with? Asked the computer. I'd like to speak to an agent. I understand you'd like to speak to an agent, but I can't connect you until I know more about what you need. My package hasn't been delivered. The computer then explains how to file a claim online, which I cannot do. I get an error message that the package isn't eligible yet, and then it terminates the call. I went through this 3 times. I tried pressing 0, nothing worked. But then I figured out the system. What can I help you with? I'm sorry, did you say that you are having a delivery issue? I'm sorry, did you say that you are trying to file a claim? And then there was silence, lasting 3 beats. I will connect you to an agent. Please hold. This call will be recorded for quality assurance. The next story is called The Screw It Friday. Around 2018, I worked for a company with a fairly lenient alcohol policy. In fact, at some company events, even on company property, they served alcohol. It was not uncommon for executive and managers to have a drink at lunch on a Friday and finish out the day. One day, one of my employees went to lunch on his 21st birthday and had a couple of beers, and I drove him back into work to finish out his shift. He does basic computer input, has no contact with customers or operating machinery or anything dangerous. I got a note from Human Resources that I need to give him a formal warning for what he did when they heard about it. I pointed out that there isn't a policy to enforce, and they decided to create a zero-tolerance alcohol policy based on this event. What they didn't understand was that they had 2 other policies in effect that we exploited. In order to make sure that people didn't infect the workforce, there was an infection reduction policy. This allowed people who called in sick after working part of the day to go home and get paid for the whole day. We could use this once per paycheck, every 2 weeks. There was another work from home policy that allowed for employees to work from home for half a day without needing a reason. We could also use this once per paycheck, every 2 weeks. After hearing about the zero-tolerance alcohol policy, I instructed all of my employees that if they were going to have a drink at lunch, that they should either call in sick for the rest of the day or work from home the rest of the day. Eventually, it got to the point where we would have a drink at lunch every Friday and alternate work from home or call in sick. Drunkenness, after all, counted as a sickness to the letter of the policy. We called it Screw It Friday. The third story is called Don't Put C Resume. I work in government. The other day I was trolling around job boards to see if there are any opportunities available. Lo and behold, I found one that I am well qualified for. So, onto the application process. Luckily, I am on one of those sites that stores my information, so I don't have to fill out the stuff. I dust off my resume, required, and list my job dates, titles and duties, and also my cover letter, tailoring them specifically to the job at hand. Everything looks good. Onto the questions section, which usually includes race, gender, veteran status and things like that. But apparently that wasn't good enough for this job. They also had a bunch of supplementary questions. While not totally unheard of in the government field, it is a giant pain. Some are multiple choice, asking how many years I have with a specific skill. However, after each multiple choice question, there's a question asking me to detail my job dates, titles and duties where I gained this experience. Then, at the end of the question, it says, please do not put C resume. Why shouldn't I? My resume has those exact things. So I decided to maliciously comply. I did not write C resume. Instead, I copied and pasted large sections from my resume directly into the text box. It had all the necessary information and I kept the bullet points. Spoiler alert, I was not selected to interview for the job. When I decided to do the malicious compliance, I basically decided that I didn't need the job that bad. The next story is called Follow the Schedule as Posted. Our workplace follows a bi-weekly work schedule. I am one of the 3 cooks that work there. Usually I work 4 to 5 days per week. This is interchanging, either Friday and Saturday the 11-hour closing shift or Tuesday and Thursday the 6-hour closing. The other cook, Bob, will take over the other shift. Fridays and Saturdays are the busiest days for us and we close at 11 PM instead of 10 PM. Our boss agreed that we would switch every schedule. This schedule would be sent in text and a physical copy at work. Bob was scheduled to work this time as I gave notice a month ahead for those days off. The boss likes to copy and paste schedules and screws up by posting the physical copy, stating that I'm supposed to work and takes copy as my days off. The first week, our supervisor Mia is following the physical copy. She calls me that day that I'm 30 minutes late and asks where I am. Confused, I explain the situation that I have my day off and I can't come in. She interjects, saying I was scheduled to work and that I'll be getting a warning for a no-show. The next day I get a call from the boss about my no-show. He doesn't care that the schedule was wrong and not matching and tells me if I miss today I'll be written up and that you must follow the schedule at work. He can't schedule anyone else as nobody wants extra shifts besides the 3 cooks and he can't hire anyone as the business is not big enough. The next month rolls around and Bob is quitting and has already given his 2 weeks notice. The new schedule shows up and I notice the schedules don't match. Bob was assigned to work Friday and Saturday when he already has quit by then. So after closing Thursday night I muted my phone from work and I head home to have a few drinks. I come back to work Sunday and the boss is waiting. He goes at me for missing work and how he had to fill in for me as nobody else could. I just told him I was only just following the work schedule exactly. Oh man, he was furious. But after calming down, he changed his mind as he had no one on the next week to cover those days. I just said I couldn't work those days as I get back to work just as the lunch rush comes. What makes my malicious compliance even better is the next week. I'm at my mom's work friend's party. I see that my boss's wife is also there. I meet her and have a short conversation with her and asked her where the boss was. She said he couldn't make it, he needed to cover some shifts at work. I replied, too bad, he probably should have scheduled someone. The last story is called I'm the only one to schedule anything. While I usually work in the structural engineering side of our enterprise, occasionally I will assist with some of the generic civil projects. We are a design-build company. I have been working with a project manager who has been with the company since its founding nearly 30 years ago. We will refer to him as Rob for the story. Important note, this project takes place near Fairbanks, Alaska. Well, about 2 weeks ago, Rob asked me to look into what it would take to get a 40-yard bin drop-off on site for scrap metal from an old tank that was being demoed. He said we want the bin to arrive on Monday, so Monday last week. I get scrap pricing as well as a drop-off schedule through our local scrapyard and inform Rob of the scrap price and mention that the delivery has been scheduled. Fast forward to that Monday and I get a call from Rob and he is just screaming, cursing and shooing me out for scheduling the delivery of this bin. He says, I told you to look into it, not to schedule it. Well, to me that means schedule it and I pointed out that I informed him via email that the bin would be dropped off. Rob then says, I don't care what the other project managers have you do, nobody schedules any delivery to my job but me. Alright, fine, I can do that. I sent him an email that says something along the lines of, I understood from our conversation this morning that in the future I will not schedule any delivery for your projects. Is this correct? That evening a one-word response, yes. Last Wednesday I get a call from the company which will be supplying the crane for our project. They inform me that they would like to get the 60 RT crane, a pretty decent size, delivered to the job site on Friday. I tell them that I cannot confirm that delivery and that I will need to get Rob in touch with them. I am informed that we need to get this handled ASAP because we are getting close to the delivery window. For those unaware, and I assume most everyone is, as I didn't know this until the conversation. There's a time in the late spring in parts of Alaska where delivery of loads over a certain weight are not allowed due to damages that the load will do to the roadway with subgrades that are recently unfrozen. Apparently, this window changes from year to year, but is in place starting this week. You can still transport heavy loads, but it takes additional permitting and has a fee, much like normal oversized loads. I call Rob and leave him a voicemail that he needs to call back our crane supplier who needs confirmation for delivery on Friday. I follow up with an email. I did not hear back on Wednesday, so I repeated the procedure on Thursday morning, again with no answer to either call or voicemail. On Thursday, right before I head out, I email Rob and CC our vice president who heads all installation projects, telling Rob that the crane supplier needs an answer immediately. And that I have been trying to reach Rob since Wednesday to confirm this, as I have been informed that I am not to schedule deliveries for your projects. Well, that got the ball rolling. Rob calls me in the morning on Friday and tells me to get the crane here today. I call the crane guys and they inform me that there is no way that we can get the crane in that day and that it will have to come on Monday during the restricted delivery window. I end up transferring the crane supplier to our VP because I am not about to approve the additional price of this delivery, and the VP handles it. The VP is a cool guy, he is a bit annoyed with me, but I forwarded him the email confirming that I am not allowed to get delivery scheduled and he is completely off my back about it. Sounds like we are out about 10k due to the additional charges for this delivery, and guess who is allowed to schedule deliveries again? I should note that the owner is in the office every day. And he is not the kind of guy to take lightly to the fact that he is out 10 grand because someone lost his cool about something stupid. Thanks for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed it. Have a great day. Bye bye.